topic is something that's, of course, about sharing knowledge, sharing your experience. We love to share stories like these on our platforms. So just reach out to me, reach out to Doyle, reach out to Dandini, reach out to Mandura ma'am, anybody from here. Just reach out to us and we'll be like super excited to have you on with us. I think uh, we do have enough people to now get started with it. And before I introduce Yashasvi to everybody, I would like to introduce Madhura Das Gupta ma'am, because she is the one who has been the flag bearer, and she has taken on this initiative to get 10 million women into the workforce. And the bigger the dream, the bigger the energy and bigger the enthusiasm. So over to you, Madhura ma'am. We would like you to share a few words and motivate our fellow aspirers.
Thank you so much. And this is indeed very special because I'm introducing someone who is very special to Aspire for Her and to me. That is Yashasvi. Yashasvi joined us, and I will start with that. Yashasvi joined us right after Aspire for Her started. And I thought what was the best part about her was the kind of keen interest she took in building the community, in working on various projects, always putting her hand up for the initiatives and always up for a new challenge. When Yashasvi got into BCG for her internship, we were all discussing that, this is such a prestigious internship, and she was one of the first to get into internship projects from her campus. And we said, this is so cool. And it's a great organization. And I think she will share a lot more about that journey. But I think, it was an amazing experience that she had. And, we thought it's only logical that in Aspire for Her, all of you get to also hear about experiences of very young journeys. We've always done, many leaders who have come and talked about their journeys, women returnees who have taken the courage to move out of their comfort zone, and they have come and talked on our platform about their journeys. So it's been interesting. But we thought that it's time that we actually get our young members back again in the fore, because when AFH started, it was all about young women who were all 18 to 25 years old. We had a fantastic program called the Ambassador Program, and we're going to restart that. We have some very exciting plans for young women in colleges and just out of college as we speak. Like Aditi said, we want to add 10 million women to the workforce by 2030. We want to add 1 million women to the workforce by 2025. And we want every woman in India to have a voice and to be financially independent. So we have some fairly simple dreams, but it's just that India is absolutely at the bottom in terms of economic participation by women. That number has not been improving at all for the past 15 years. And that's something that we want to change. And that's something I think all of you want to change as well, because that's not something, that's not the rank that we like to live with. We are all people who take deep pride in our country, take deep pride in our intellect and in our women and in everybody who is with us on this journey. I would request all of you to think and introspect to say, what can you do to change it? That's what I did when I started Aspire for Her. I asked myself, what can I do to change it? And I thought starting Aspire for Her is probably the best way in which I can change things around here, instead of just feeling sad and wringing my hands in despair and saying, oh my God, why isn't anybody doing anything? That anybody can be you. So just go ahead and do that. And the two of the big things that are coming up in the next few days, one is we want to set up something very interesting at AFH, and I'm hoping HSP will spend some time on that as well, the AFH clubs. That's something that we do want to do. It's still in ideation stage, but with all your help, I'm hoping that we will be able to do that across colleges in the country so that every college has a little bit of AFH in them. And the second thing that's almost done, and it's just sort of getting launched, and I'm telling you all of this in confidence, so we haven't yet gone out on social media and talked about it, but almost done, is when we want to launch a young professionals community. There's a hot debate going on within AFH right now as to what the name of the community should be. So don't hold me to this name of young professionals community. the segment that we want to talk to are people who are just starting out on their work, and they have done about 10-15 years of their work. So that's the sort of segment that we're looking at. That's the time that women have a lot of challenges in their lives. That's the time that they often choose to move out of the workforce, and not really pursue their dreams of a successful career. So we want to change that. Our message is very simple: never ever give up on your career. And by any chance, if you have, then we are here to pull you right back in. Thank you very much. Thank you. Back to you, Aditi, and looking forward to Yashasvi's pearls of wisdom.
Thank you, Madhura ma'am, for your pearls of wisdom. And as you all heard, we are launching 2 very huge and very interesting initiatives via AFH in the coming months. So stay tuned and keep your eyes out and your ears open for any opportunity so that you can just grab it right on time. So now, Yashasvi is a very, very, very familiar face at AFH. She has been around ever since the inception and has worked with lots of corporations, including IBM, Cisco, JP Morgan and Chase, and has also led the Learning and Technology Initiative at AFH. So having done all of this was not really enough for her. She had to achieve more. So she went on to interning at BCG, and not only an internship, she actually got a pre-placement offer right after her internship, which is like crazy, crazy, crazy good. And not just this, if I just start telling you guys about the awards and the scholarships that she has won, you will lose your mind. She was awarded the Mittal Renaissance Scholarship for Extraordinary All-Round Performance, the Google Generation Scholarship for Leadership in Technology, AWS Machine Learning Scholarship, and the Quantum Machine Learning Fellowship in 2021. I mean, these are all the big, big, big names that she has in her entire catalog, and it does not stop there. She was also a twice KVPY Fellow, wherein the fellowship was awarded by IISc Bangalore, and a National Talent Search Scholar, wherein the Merit Scholarship was awarded by the Government of India. I mean, these are like amazing achievements, and that too at a very, very young age. How did you do this? Let's start from there.
Honestly, I'm honestly feeling like, switching off my camera because, oh my God.
You've got to show that face that has achieved so much in just so little time. So tell us about, all these turning points in your life, the big things that you've done.
Sure. Okay. I was not prepared for this question, but I'll try to take a shot at it. So, I mean, I think, one thing that I've been constantly doing, I think ever since I was in high school and when I came to college, was like, actively looking out for opportunities and, applying at the right place at the right time. I think that has made a huge difference for me, because a lot of times it's not that, one is not capable of getting these. It's just that a lot of people are just not aware about all of these opportunities. And if you get to know about them at the right time, if you start preparing for them at the right time, I think anybody and everybody in this room can be at the same page as me, because I am pretty sure that everybody is, perfectly capable of doing that. So that is a little bit on everything that's happened so far. And I'm hoping that with all of my past experiences, I would be able to help the 63 people in the room over here to, be more prepared for their interviews, whether it is for a job or an internship or a scholarship. So it depends greatly. I mean, I think based on which interview you are appearing for, how you prepare for it. However, I've tried to compile, some points that would be generally applicable to all interviews in general. And hopefully, that would be able to help the participants here today. So should I just start with the presentation?
Absolutely. Go ahead. It's yours to take over and share the magic.
Sure. Okay. And first of all, I mean, thank you so much for that introduction. I think that is overly humbling. And thank you, Madhura ma'am, for the very warm welcome. I mean, it's like I always say, it's mutual. The community energizes me, and the community members energize everybody else here. So yeah, and in fact, the BCG internship, the day before I appeared for the interview, I remember calling Madhura ma'am and being like, I'm so nervous. What do I do? And then she was like, she gave me this 5-minute pep talk, and then that was it. That was exactly what I needed. So yeah, credit goes to her also partly. So yes, I think I'll just share my screen. Give me a minute.
Sure. Meanwhile, while Yashasvi goes and looks for the right presentation, let's have the poll questions. Priya? So these are like certain questions that help us get to know you better so that, we can curate our events around your answers. So it would be great if you all could just answer the questions. It's there on the screen. Oh, we're getting nice response. So STEM background means anything related to technology, science and technology. So I can see a lot of you are looking for job opportunities, which is great because this session will help you ace the job opportunity that you get, most probably. Okay. Yeah, thank you. So Yashasvi, you can go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so first of all, to start with, I wanted to ask everybody in the room, what is the audience, just to gauge what are the interests of the audience and at what stage are all of you currently. It might be that you have applied for certain, job roles, and you are waiting for your interview call, or you have gotten an interview call, or you're waiting to apply for, jobs or scholarships or internships. Maybe you can just put it in the chat box, and just as a small icebreaker. Anybody? Okay, if not that question, then maybe we can go to this question. If you've had a past um, uh, interview experience, what do you think is the key to a successful interview, or what have been the challenges that you've faced while preparing for an interview? Okay, preparing for interviews, and what any specific part in the interview preparation that you found to be specifically challenging? Communication skills. Okay. Okay, some people have been giving interviews and it's currently on hold. You're not feeling confident. Very relatable. Confidence. Okay. Technical skills for tech jobs and tech internships. Got it. Anything else? Struggling in self-introduction. Got it. Not getting calls. We'll address that as well. Okay, so I get the broad idea. I mean, interviews can be very tricky. Preparing for interviews can be even more tricky because you don't know how to go about it exactly. And, generally, I think there is a feeling that there are so many people competing for the same role, and what would exactly make me stand out when I'm appearing for an interview. So that is, one question that I think troubles a lot of people. So let's see. And I've tried to break it down into three major, pointers that affect uh, how you stand out in an interview. If you look at it from an interviewer's perspective, there are a lot of people competing for the same role, maybe thousands applying for the same role, and hundreds getting shortlisted and finally appearing for interviews. So I think, according to me, from my past experience, the points that really, contribute towards making you stand out are these three. First of all, number one, being confident. How confident are you when you're appearing for an interview? What is the state of mind that you are walking into the interview with? The second one is your ability to connect dots. And this might sound a little new and not very straightforward, but we'll go into depth of this point as well, and I'll explain what exactly this means. And then finally, I think it's your perspective, how look at yourself, how you look at yourself, how you look at a particular job opportunity or any opportunity for that matter. How do you think, you are valued for that particular opportunity, or how does the interviewer look at you? So all of those things. And if you have to go deeper into all of these 3 points, let's start with confidence. Now, if you talk about confidence, I think confidence largely comes from being prepared. So the more prepared you are for a particular interview or any opportunity for that matter, you will generally, naturally be more confident if you're more prepared. And being prepared includes a lot of different aspects. So starting with doing your background research. So when you're applying for a particular job role, you should, be very thorough with what is the job role exactly, what are the requirements for it, what is the organization that you're applying for, and how are you exactly going to fit into that role, right? So these things would include things like the organization. What is the mission and vision of the organization? Going through the website of the company that you're applying for, going through their, YouTube channel, their introduction videos. What is the exact mission statement that they're working on helps a lot. These are some, tricks that I have personally used in my past interview experiences, and they've greatly helped. Because a lot of times, let's say, for example, if you're applying for a tech job, you could be applying to Google, Microsoft, Amazon at the same time. And, the roles would also be similar at all of these organizations. You might be applying for a software developer role. However, in the interview, how do you convince the interviewer that it is this particular organization that I'm most interested in working with? So they could ask, why are you interested in working with Amazon, for example? You could say that I'm interested in doing software or development, and that's something I like. But then that is not a good enough answer, because you can do software development at all of these 3-4 organizations. However, what is it that makes Amazon the first choice for you? So in that particular interview, I think doing the background research well as to what differentiates one organization from the other helps a lot. Also, when you are appearing for an interview, the interviewer would usually have either your resume or your LinkedIn profile very handy with them when they're interviewing you, because that is something that they use as reference to, gauge where you are coming from, what is your background, and of course, that coupled with the introduction that you would be giving when you join the interview. So whatever you mention on your resume or on your LinkedIn profile, I think you should be absolutely on top of everything. If there are research projects that you've mentioned on your resume, you should know the very, small details, and what was exactly the problem statement that you worked on, what were the tools and technologies that you let's say used to implement the project. If it is a different kind of an interview, say for example, if it's for a consulting internship, or if it's for a management role, then if it's your past experience with leadership, your extracurricular activities, wherever you have taken initiative and showed leadership skills, I think all of that combined on your resume and apart from your resume also, that matters a lot. So be absolutely prepared with your background research for the organization, and research on your, not exactly research, but you should be on top of your resume, and you should have all of the details, all of the past experiences, details about your past internship experiences, projects, extracurricular activities on your fingertips. Then comes skills relevant to the role. So for example, for a tech internship, it would be, let's say, your software skills, your coding skills, your programming skills. Are you familiar with the tools and technologies that are required to be used in the job role that you have applied for? Absolutely being prepared with that. And this takes time. I mean, it's not like you would start preparing for an interview 2 days prior to the interview. You have to put in that time and effort to actually prepare yourself well on whatever the interviewer might ask you. So for example, for tech internships, it would be, they might give you a coding question, they might ask you to solve a problem in front of them, and for that you have to have practiced a lot of questions beforehand. For example, if it's a consulting or a business analytics role, then in that case, most probably you would be given a business case study to solve. And for that, you should have practiced, let's say, mock cases prior to your interview. And a good way to do this is also, connecting with people who are already in the job, because these are people who have successfully gone through the entire process, and they themselves prepared for the interviews, and then were actually able to convert them. So you can always use tools like LinkedIn to look for such people. You can connect with them, you can get on short one-on-one calls with them. And usually if you reach out to people on LinkedIn, they would be very willing to sort of help you. For example, if you have any specific questions, you can reach out to me. There are a lot of people, other people that you can find on LinkedIn by doing a simple company and role search on LinkedIn. So asking them about what their experience was like at the interviews would give you an exact idea of what is it that you need to prepare for. And I'm telling you, this is an absolute, this is such an important point. It can actually be a game changer. So being, well versed with what might come in so that you don't get surprised, and having prepared well practiced, let's say, cases or programming, solving programming problems and all prior to the interview really helps. Then there would also be certain skills that are, I think, required in almost every role these days, that are skills that have to do with your team working abilities, your ability to lead a team, your ability to take initiative. What is the value that you bring to the table apart from your exact technical knowledge and domain knowledge? Because in large organizations, everywhere you're required to work in teams. So prior experience with working on a project with a few people as a team, which sort of demonstrates that you have had that experience and you were able to successfully work in a team, would be of great help over here. And similarly, from your past experiences, if you can draw stories or anecdotes where you were able to take initiative, implement a new thing, something that you did for the first time, that also creates a lot of impact. Then an additional point is, you should always keep your LinkedIn profile completely up to date, because from my personal experience, what happened during my interview with the Boston Consulting Group was, the round that I had with my managing director and partner at BCG, He actually, opened my LinkedIn profile side by side and went through it. And I came to know about this only after the interview ended, because I got a notification that this person saw your profile. And luckily, at that time, my profile was well updated. But if you don't have it updated, I think that's something that you should definitely do before appearing for any interview. Because in case, from an interviewer's perspective, if they don't have your resume handy, they would, just go to Google and do a simple search with your name and college, and they would very easily be able to land on your LinkedIn profile. So that is a very important step, that, and you don't want to lose out on points, because of such a small thing. A LinkedIn profile is something that you should definitely keep updated, and you should keep updating it regularly. And for updating your LinkedIn profile, I think there have been a lot of sessions at Aspire for Her also, that you can maybe go back to look at the recordings to see tips on how you can make the best LinkedIn profile with whatever experience and whatever skills that you have. Then finally, one of the very important aspects that I think a lot of people mentioned in the chat also was communication skills. So how do you really, be very fluent and very concise with what you are communicating? A lot of times people think that you have to have, extremely good fluency, or you have to use fancy vocabulary to be able to, impress the person with your communication skills. However, that is not the case. What you should be able to do is communicate your point effectively. Whatever it is that you have in your mind, that should reach the interviewer properly without any gaps. If that is, as long as that is happening, even if you are not so fluent, even if you are not so fast, in fact, being slow, being taking your time while communicating is in fact something that is more appreciated. um, at the same time, before, when you are especially communicating in an interview, there might be questions that are asked by the interviewer, and that you need a little time to think for. So in those cases, it's always advised to sort of take time, ask for time, that, can I take 30 seconds or 20 seconds to just think about my answer, gather my thoughts, and then come back to you with the answer, just to, just can I just reflect on um, what the can I just gather my thoughts and collect my answer to get back to you. So that's perfectly fine. And in fact, if you do that, that also shows that you're not just spontaneously blurting out whatever is coming up to your mind. You're taking your time to structure your thoughts and properly come to an answer. So you should always do that. And at the same time, one thing that you can do is just practice, maybe in front of the mirror, or while talking to your friends, or just also when you are thinking about your interview, or what are the answers you are going to give to potential questions. You should be thinking in your mind in a way that you are exactly going to communicate during the interview. You can also use a pen and paper to bullet down points that you might use for answering a particular question, and then when you are actually speaking that answer, you just knit those points together in the form of a proper answer. So that really helps. So that is something that you can do. There are questions available for, questions that are generally asked. You can always do a Google search on, let's say, for example, if you're appearing for an Amazon interview, questions asked in Amazon HR interviews. Some of the very general questions are, what is one challenging situation that you have been through in the last few years? What is it that separates you from the rest of your peers? Why do you exactly want to take up this role? Why not any other role? What are your future plans? What are your goals? So these general questions, I think you can, just try to reflect on these questions prior to your interview, and give proper time to thinking about them, and put down bullet points. If you put down bullet points, it gets very easy to just connect them when you are finally giving an answer during the interview, right? And also, if there are any questions at any point, please feel free to stop me and ask. Or you can also put the questions in the chat box. I'll be happy to answer. Moving forward, we come to the second part, which is connecting the dots. So I think personally, I mean, from my experience, I think this is the most important part of any interview, and especially the questions that are asked apart from the technical or the business case study rounds, which is the usually it's called the HR round. And these questions can sometimes be very tricky. Questions like, what would you do in such a situation? Some question from your past, some question that sort of asks you that what would you do in a challenging situation, and what are you planning to do, let's say 5 or 10 years down the line. So that can be, these questions can be very tricky. So how do you exactly come to answers to these tricky questions? One thing that I always do before any interview is just reflect on your entire journey so far. What I mean by that is just switch off your phone, keep it aside, and sit quietly in peace to just think about whatever it is that you've done so far. Let's say in your high school, in your school, what has your journey looked like? What have the major events been that have changed you as a person, that have shaped your personality? What were the turning points in your life? And I'm not talking about just professional work experiences and projects and accomplishments that you might have. Sometimes there are just incidents that change you as a person, that change your outlook towards life. Write everything that comes to your mind on a paper. And this might sound very weird, but this works wonders. So if if you've reflected on your journey so far, a day or two before the interview, any question that is thrown at you, any HR question that is thrown at you, you would be able to tackle that. The point is not to prepare answers for 100 questions that might be asked, because actually there are 100 possibilities of questions that the interviewer might ask you. You cannot prepare for any all 100 questions, but you can know yourself completely. And if you know yourself completely and your journey completely, and if you're able to connect what has happened with you so far with what the question is asking of you, you will be able to ace that question. I can guarantee that. Right. And this takes time, and this requires you to have properly reflected upon your journey. And exactly what I said, I mean, incidents that you've gone through, personal experiences, anecdotes, and incidents or even professional experiences that have greatly contributed to a change in your personality, or how have you grown through the years? What is it that you look at, let's say 5 or 10 years down the line? And so once you've reflected on your journey, just make a doc with everything over there, your personal experiences as well as your professional experiences, skills that you can connect to these anecdotes from your personal life. So for example, let's say if I take the example of leadership, it doesn't have to be, so let's say for example your job role, whichever job role you have applied for, requires you to have certain level of leadership skills and your ability to lead. They're looking at that. Then in that case, you can look at certain past experiences. Let's say for example, it doesn't have to be something very fancy. Let's say for example, if there was a time when you took the lead in your college or in your school to get something done in a project where let's say you took the lead and coordinated with all the team members to actually get the project done. Or it could also be something as simple as we were going on a family trip, and nobody was really sure of how to plan this exact trip, so I took the initiative. I mean, it can literally be something as simple as that. So if you can just map the past experiences with skills that are required for the job, that is the best way to prove yourself and your skills. So that is point number 3. And then based on what the question is asking for and what the job role requires or the internship requires of you, you create your own story specific to answer that question. So for example, if it's you have the same, I mean, your experiences are not going to change, but how you answer, connect, collating points from your past experiences and how you narrate a story will be very different based on which interview you are appearing for, and who is the person you're talking to, and what is the organization that you're interviewing for. So keeping all of those things in mind, and when you connect this to your research that you did in the last section, so when you were preparing and when you were looking at the mission and vision of the company, how is that company different from the others, let's say. So let's say, for example, how is Amazon different from Google or Microsoft? And then you map what is exactly their mission statement to what has been your experiences, and why, let's say, you want to work with this specific organization, right? And a lot of times, I think what happens is, you have accomplished something in the past, but you're not very confident about saying that out loud in an interview. That is an absolutely, that is something that you shouldn't be doing at all, because in an interview, that is when you have to speak for yourself, because you know your journey, you know your accomplishments. Nobody else is going to come in and speak for you, right? It's just the interviewer and you there. So you have to speak for yourself, and you have to bring in points from your past experiences where you did well. And I think the entire reflection exercise also helps a lot in terms of gathering that confidence that yes, these are the things that I have done so far, these are the small challenges that I overcame over the last few years, and hence I think I would be a good fit for this role, and I actually deserve to be in this role and get this role. So you have to be open to talking about your past accomplishments, even if it's not necessary that the person will ask you that what were your accomplishments so far. It might be that when you are answering a particular question, let's say for example the question asked is, tell me about your XYZ internship experience that you did this summer. So let's say if something that you could do is you include all the details about the internship, and then at the end, if you were actually able to make an improvement in the organization through your project, through your work, you mention that as a result of my work, and as a result of the initiatives that I took in this particular internship, the company achieved XYZ results, and that was something that I initiated. And highlighting that is so important. In general, I think when you are answering questions like these, it is best to follow this method called the STAR method, and you will find lots of online resources on how to use the STAR method effectively in interviews and even on your resumes. So what is the STAR method? STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result, right? So for describing any project or internship experience, you can first describe the situation. What was the situation that you were dealing with? And then the action. So what initiative or what solution did you propose, and what exactly did you work on? What was the action taken from your end to solve this particular problem, right? So situation is the problem statement. Action is what you proposed to or what you did to solve this particular problem. And then T is task. So what was the broad task that you were assigned, and how did you propose to solve that? And then finally, R stands for result. So after you did all of these, what was the final outcome of the project, of your work, that finally helped the organization, helped the team, helped the people in the company? So that sort of gives a holistic picture of whatever your experience was. It can be at a small not-for-profit organization, it can be at a large company, it can be around a small project that you worked on in your school or in your college, or it can also be something from a personal experience, right? It applies everywhere. So those are the 5 points, I think, under connecting the dots. And this is so important. You have to be able to connect dots while you are answering questions in a particular interview, and connecting it in the right way such that it answers what the interviewer is looking for, right? So any questions so far? I think there are a few questions in the chat box.
Yes, we do have some questions here.
Okay, so do we take these questions towards the end, or should I try to answer them now, Aditi?
You can complete your presentation, then we can take it towards the end. If you have some more slides to go through, then we can do it right now, and then
Sure,
take up
sure. Okay.
later.
I'll just go through the final 2 slides and then we'll come back to the questions, I think. The final one was, yes, the final one is your perspective, right? And a lot of times when we're preparing for interviews, be it for an internship, a job, or a scholarship, or any other opportunity, we tend to, be underconfident and nervous about, am I even good enough for this? And do I really qualify? Because there are so many people out there and all of them are so good. How am I better than everybody else? And these are the, general thoughts that would come to anybody's mind before an interview. I think this is one of the most important things that I also personally learned from my mentors and Madhura ma'am and a lot of other people, Ruchita ma'am and Reema ma'am, that you have to shift that narrative that you tell yourself and the way that you are looking at yourself when it comes to internship or job opportunities. We always tend to put the opportunity first, the company first, um, the job first, whereas in reality, the how it should be is, you come first. We look at it as, I need this job, I need this internship because I need it. But however, if you look at it from that perspective, from an interviewer's perspective and from an organization's perspective, they need you actually. And if you ever, heard conversations on the other side of the table, they are looking for young and talented and, curious, dedicated, confident people. They would want somebody who values themselves over somebody who values the company more, right? And the more confident you are, the more prepared you are, and the more uh, confidence you have in yourself, it just shows, I think, when you walk into an interview and when you are talking, it just shows in your voice, in your eyes, in the way you are conducting yourself. It might be very subtle, but I think it just shows. So when that happens, automatically, there is a 180-degree shift in the entire situation. So it's rather than being something like, being nervous and will I get this or not? Am I good enough for this or not? And I really need this. The narrative, the perspective changes towards, well, I think I deserve this role, and if they take me in, then good for them. Otherwise, it's their loss. So you have to sort of know your worth, and you have to be very confident, and you have to put yourself first. I mean, if not one opportunity, there are hundreds and thousands of opportunities out there that you can actually, work for and that you deserve. And that eventually, you should have that faith in yourself that if not this one, then I would finally land up at some good place, because I have that much faith in myself, as simple as that. So once you have this kind of a perspective, this is how you talk to yourself when you look at the mirror, then I think the entire situation changes. If you look at it from a interviewer's perspective, they look at you as an asset to the company. You have to, and I think you should also picture yourself as the same, that I have these skill sets and these many skill sets, these are my qualities, and this is the unique value that I bring to the table. And obviously, if you are, let's say, not selected for that particular role, the organization is missing out on all that you could bring to the table, right? And I think this, this perspective, this narrative only comes once you are completely confident about yourself and you are completely prepared, right? And that is when the reflection exercise also helps a lot, and the entire exercise on, getting yourself prepared, because once you do that, this comes easy. And this is just a change in the way you think about yourself. um Sometimes in some interviews you might also have to, negotiate, because corporates, I'm telling you, they try to use resources as much as possible without, let's say, paying them enough. Or so, for example, there have been not the PCG internship, but there have been some, small internships that I've done so far, where with startups and all, where they would initially say that we are looking only for unpaid interns and we won't be able to pay you so much. But then you could just accept that, or you could tell them that, I think that my skills are worth more, and that you just have to, know when to negotiate and how to negotiate. And but I think it takes that bit of confidence to in yourself, to be able to start that conversation, and that's always a very difficult conversation. However, if you think that that is necessary, and if you in your mind think that you deserve more than what they're offering, then you have to be, able to start that conversation on negotiation, right? So that is there. And then, yeah, I mean, if you know your worth, if you have faith in yourself, then all of this comes easy. And I think, yes, like, just talking to mentors and making use of, let's say, a lot of resources at AFH also, that personally has helped me, because I was absolutely unaware of this kind of a, narrative that you could actually have before walking into an interview. But this does play a role, and plays a major role, I think, and this is one of the biggest differentiating factors in my opinion. So yes, these were the three broad, areas where I think, if you prepare yourself well, you would be able to ace interviews that you are appearing for. And just to check the time, it's 6:19. I think maybe we can go to the Q&A section. Otherwise, I had a bonus session on profile building also, but I think we can take Q&As first, and if we have time, we can come back to this.
Yeah, sure. So Vandana wants to know how to change a career from one sector to another. If you're changing your stream, or suppose if you did your undergrad in a different stream and are applying, suppose you did it in mechanical and you want to apply for an IT job, how do you justify a transition like that?
Right. Okay. So, speaking from my own personal experience, I come from a physics background. So, I'm doing my BTech in engineering physics, and that is, more research oriented. And then most of the projects that I did in my undergrad before applying to, let's say, a role in management consulting, were tech based. And this was one question that was asked of me, that, your profile looks very research and tech centric. How come you've applied for this particular role? So I think as long as you're able to tell a story that answers why you want to really switch, and it doesn't have to be something that you've thought of very strategically. It can just be the honest answer, right? I mean, for example, for me, it was that I just don't want to be sitting on a desk job and doing and just programming the entire day. I am somebody who likes to talk to people, work in teams, and brainstorm, and work on projects that make that are high impact projects, and that are able to make impact in a short period of time. And that was my personal answer. So I just honestly told that to the interviewer, and in most cases I can tell you that it works, because as long as it's an honest answer, it would be justified, right? Because that is, and here is where the reflection exercise comes in. If you are actually willing to change from tech to management, or management to tech, or whatever it is, there would be a reason behind it, a personal reason. It can't be a general reason that anybody can use. It varies greatly from person to person, and based on what your story has been so far. As long as you're able to tell that story, I think honestly, and in a well structured manner, I think it works. So my suggestion would be that just be honest and tell them why you want to switch your careers, and how it would help your career moving forward.
Yeah. Yes, honesty is the best policy to go for it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so somebody wants to ask that, not everybody has like so many accomplishments to their names, right? So what if you haven't done much other than just the basic? How do you make up? How do you get that edge if it's possible?
Right. Right. So, I mean, everybody starts at that point. And to be very honest, I was also at that point some time back. And right now, it might seem that there are a lot of things, but there was a point when all of that was not there. Right. So, there are actually a lot of opportunities where, people are just looking for fresh minds and people who are willing to work rather than what is on their resume and, what are their past accomplishments and all. I think one very good way is to just prep yourself in terms of the skills that would be required for a particular role. Let's say, for example, if you are even like remotely interested in, data science, just taking an example, then what you could do, let's say you don't have any experience in data science, you have not done any past internships or anything like that. So your first step would be that I want to do an internship in data science, and for that I need a resume. So then what do you put in on your resume for that first internship? So then what I think comes in handy is courses and certifications and these online resources. They help a lot because these days, I mean, on the internet there are so many good courses from good sources. They are even better than normally courses that you would actually find in your university. So let's say if you go to Coursera or edX or Udemy, and if you take that course and if you're able to put on your resume that so I don't have like professional work experience, but I have completed so and so courses, and this is how I've gained XYZ skills. So I did this course on data science and worked on this personal project, this individual project, and and I think I'm eligible for and I want to explore this area further. So a lot of times, let's say if you are a a university student, if you are in your, let's say, sophomore year or your junior year, what helps is applying for research internships at universities, because these people are professors at universities are not looking for students with a lot of experience. They're just looking for people who are willing to learn and contribute to projects. So that I think really helps. And once you have that experience, you can apply to more mature roles that actually require experience, and then you can use these internship experiences on your resume for the bigger roles.
Absolutely, that makes sense. Another question is from Katie, and she wants to know that sometimes during an interview we just get blank, right? A question is asked and we are blank. We have nothing in our minds.
Right.
Just sitting there completely blank with no thoughts, no words, nothing. So, what do we do?
Right. I think this mostly happens because normally if you are thrown a question like that in a normal setting, you wouldn't go blank. But you go blank during an interview because you are nervous and because you think that the stakes are high. Right. And I think this comes back to being confident and how do you calm your nerves before walking into an interview. I think this was also something that one of my seniors suggested, that if you are nervous when you're walking into an interview, just tell the interviewer that to be honest, I'm a little nervous, because that just clears the air and that makes the conversation a little more informal. And usually, I mean, interviewers are very sweet and very nice people. They do not necessarily look for like perfect answers. They're just looking to get to know you. And if you go in from, if you're just clear the air with your interviewer, just chat with them informally for the first 30 seconds, I think that really helps. And once that happens, most likely you won't be going blank over a question, but in case still you do, just tell that can I just take maybe tell them, can I take 30 seconds or a minute to think about the answer and come back to you, if that's okay. And usually the interviewer's answer would be yes, that of course we understand that you might be nervous during an interview. It's probably like your first big interview, so it's fine, you can take your time and then come back, and that's appreciated. So again, I mean, honesty is the best policy. Just being honest in interviews really helps.
Exactly. I mean, to look at an interviewer as a person is to add that the person touch to anybody just neutralizes a very heavy situation. You just realize that, okay, the other person is also just the person who has
Right.
going about the day, to have breakfast. They're just coming here. They're like, okay, answer.
Yeah, because I mean, there are also people who have personally gone through this process, right?
Yeah.
Sometime at some point of time. So they know what exactly you're going through. And it's absolutely fine to admit that.
Exactly. So, just everybody here, just treat your interviewer as a person, as just a bhaiya or a didi or somebody. I don't know.
Right.
So, Annie wants to know if there were any online sites wherein you accessed free learning resources or that you used to prepare.
Absolutely. So I was personally, a part of the learning and tech division at AFH, and there are a lot of resources that you can use on that you can go through on the AFH website itself. So there are courses on the IBM Skills Build website, which are absolutely great, especially if you're preparing for tech roles, as well as there are courses on being prepared for a job, preparing for job interviews, how to make a effective presentation. Let's say there are courses on data science, cloud, AI. There are courses on design thinking, and so on and so forth. So I think you should definitely check out, and these are completely free, by the way, and you get a certificate from IBM if you okay. AFH is Aspire for Her. I'm so sorry. AFH is Aspire for Her. The website is www.aspireforher.com, and you would find everything under the learning tab on the website. So IBM Skills Build gets you certificate from IBM, and it is completely for free. If you go to my LinkedIn profile also, you'll see some of these certifications that I'd completed some time back. There are websites like Coursera, where also you can audit courses for free, and you can get certificates if you pay for the particular course. And then there are Coursera courses are slightly on the more expensive side. If you're looking for courses that are more affordable, then Udemy is one website that you can use. They have really great courses that are very application based, and actually industry leaders teaching those courses. So usually you'd get these courses for 300-400 bucks. And apart from these also, like, you have like a lot of free resources online. There are YouTube videos that university instructors upload on their YouTube channels. So I think if you just research a bit on the internet, you will find these resources. And otherwise, for tech and for general job skills, you can always go to IBM Skills Build. And there are AWS sessions. I think Aditi would be able to tell better about the AWS sessions.
So every month we have around 12 to 15 sessions, free AWS sessions on our website. You can sign up on our website and access them anytime. We have it every month, and most of them are around very trending technologies, including cloud, data science, and all of that. So just make sure to subscribe, and you'll get a monthly update on all of these courses. Plus, we have so many job opportunities and other learning opportunities coming up under some things that I can't reveal, but new big projects that are coming up under AFH. So just sign up to get all these opportunities every other day mostly. So we are working behind the scenes to get it all to you quicker and simpler and more. And all of these resources are free of costs. So just remember to sign up on our website. So I think we have covered all the doubts that people had. And if there are any more, you can reach out to Yashasvi on her LinkedIn, right?
Yeah, sure. Anytime. You can text me on LinkedIn.
Anyone out. Reach out to anyone.
Yes, one more slide, right, Yashasvi? That was an interesting one.
Yeah, that one was on profile building. If we have time, maybe I can go through it quickly.
Of course, I think everybody can just put a thumbs up if they are interested in seeing the profile building slide. And I'm sure there have been so many sessions. You all have to use just the reactions down and send a thumbs up. I see very few. Is everybody interested or no? Yes, please. Okay.
Okay, 9 thumbs ups. Great, great, great.
So remember, Yashasvi is a techie. Before you all put, she knows the count over here. That I can tell you. She knows all the hacks and everything. Great. I think Yashasvi, you should take it because it's been a very interesting session.
Okay. I'll quickly go through this final slide.
I think Yashasvi, one thing which I want you to share over here, besides this, is how you manage your time. Because I don't know how she does that. right from learning to having entertainment to maintaining a healthy social life, keeping up with her marks, doing all these certifications, internships, and she has time for herself. I think this is something we all need to learn from her. Over to you, Yashasvi.
Okay, I'll come to that question just after I finish going through this one. So, a lot of times the question that I get from juniors is, I have let's say 1 or 2 years before I finally apply for a job, or let's say I have 6-7 months, but I have nothing on my resume right now. So how do I build my resume from zero to something substantial before I finally apply for the role, let's say in a couple of years? So that is what I call profile building, and this is something basically like how do you gather experiences and how do you look for opportunities that will add a significant amount of value to your resume or in general your profile, and through experiences it is what that you learn and grow yourself and develop your skills. So broadly, I think the parts of one's profile and the parts that companies also assess when they're hiring people are how is the person been academically, and this I think carries a little more weightage when you are applying for a job right after undergrad. After you have had a certain amount of work experience, then I think your work experience counts more and has a certain higher weightage. So there is academic performance, and then there is past work experience. There is how good are you, or how your skills are relevant to the skills that are required in the role that you've applied for. Then there is team working abilities and leadership skills that almost everywhere in every role, any industry, any area, you would require these. And then I think a lot of people also look at how you have been giving back, especially corporates. They look at how you have been giving back because it in a way shows your just your, are you that kind of a person who wants to contribute, take initiative, and add value to those around you. In the organization, it could mean just contributing towards the betterment of the people in the organization. So it just sort of adds a certain value to your profile if you have that. So these are the 5 broad sections. For academics, I mean, the simple suggestion is that never ever put your academics on second or third priority. Your grades and your courses should always be your first priority, and maintaining your grades should also be something that you constantly work on. You should not like put this on the side. Then for work experience, if you have no prior work experience, I think this got covered in one of the Q&As also. You can apply for research internships. You can, there are 3 broad ways in which how you can, look for opportunities and internship opportunities that would not require a lot of background experience. Number 1 is through cold emailing. So cold emailing, you can write to professors at universities, or you can also write to founders or CEOs or HR people from different organizations. You can find email IDs through LinkedIn or through company websites. And what you do is you basically draft an email listing down your interest areas, your background, and a little introduction about yourself, and why you are interested in the particular role and how you can add value. And then you attach your resume to the mail, and then you just say that I'm looking forward to like hearing back or something like that. So that is one way, cold emailing. The second way is reaching out to people via LinkedIn. You will be amazed to see how many startups there are, and in any particular industry or any particular sector or area. There are hundreds of startups that are looking for people. They just literally just want people who are willing to put in the time and effort. They do not care about your past experiences. So actively looking out for startups who are looking for people, that really helps. And you can always because usually founders at new startups are very responsive, and they respond very quickly to LinkedIn messages or email requests. So that is one way, via LinkedIn. So you can put a small 2 to 3 line message about yourself and why you are interested in working with that person or that organization, and just attach your resume and just wait for answer. You can message tens, 20s, and hundreds of people if you want. So LinkedIn, like, the possibilities with LinkedIn are absolutely limitless and just helps so much. In fact, apart from my BCG internship, I think all of the other experiences that I've had, I think last 2, 3, 4 internships have all been via, texting people through LinkedIn. And then the third one is finally you can apply to companies via their job portals. So every company would have a careers page on their website, and you can go make your profile, fill up the forms and all. And if it's at a very big organization like a Google, Microsoft, Amazon, then getting referrals from people who are already working in that particular organization helps getting your profile or your application noticed, because otherwise they get like thousands and thousands of applications every day. And if you have a referral from somebody who's already working there, then they put your application first, and they give you priority over others. So that is one thing that I have heard works a lot. Then for skills relevant to the role, same thing. I mean, this also we covered in one of the Q&As. You can go through courses. You can, just, let's say, for example, if you want to work with a not-for-profit organization, if you want to just, take up a role in your college, work with a college society or a club, that also adds to your experience. And these are places from where you gather those anecdotes that you can finally use in your interview, right? So just develop, like, constantly invest in growing yourself in terms of professional skills and personal skills and technical skills. That should never stop. I mean, you should always be learning, and if you've already learned something, then updating yourself on whatever it was that you previously learned. Right. And then leadership and team working abilities. So this happens, I think, if you've had projects in your college, if you have had a past work experience, then how did you work in a team in that particular organization? What were the new things that you implemented? And just general anecdotes. And so if you want to do something like this, then you can start something in your college. Or if you're working currently, if you want to change jobs, then take some initiative in your current job, and start doing something alongside your job, something small. Start working with a not-for-profit, or maybe with a small organization wherever you can contribute. That would put you in a leadership position, and where you would be working in a team. So that's something that you definitely have on your profile before you finally go for your dream job interview. And then for contribution to the society, it's general. I mean, it doesn't have to be volunteering work. It can be done in many ways. In colleges, for example, we have NSS, we have clubs that sort of are centered towards helping the underprivileged. Genuinely also, I think not for a job. I think generally people should invest some time and effort into giving back into the society, because there is a huge imbalance. And if people like us who are slightly more privileged don't help out the underprivileged, then who else will? So I think, yeah, if you do that alongside, um, I think that would just, complete the all of the requirements that most companies look for, and they look at you as a person. Most companies don't look at you like a, person who's on a page, an imaginary person who's on a page. They look at you, they look at your entire personality and how you can add more value to the table. And I think these 5 factors contribute greatly. So, yeah. And on the question that Rachita ma'am was asking, I mean, I think personally, I feel that if I don't have a lot of things on my plate, then I just tend to like laze around and not do anything at all. So I tend to like take up a lot of things and then keep jumping around from here and there. So it just keeps me on my toes. If I think that that's something that I enjoy, also started enjoying, because if I don't have anything, then I'll just, sometimes I'll think that I'll just take a break for a month or two and not do anything apart from like, academics and all. But then I end up taking up stuff because I can't sit idle. So yeah, I mean, and you learn to manage time once it's like throwing yourself in the sea and there's no other option. You have to swim. So if once you do that, you eventually, I mean, learn how to manage your time. And I don't personally don't have like any hacks or anything. I just make like to-do lists, and uh, there are a lot of to-do lists which are still undone, but to-do lists help. So there are to-do lists, and there are tools like managing, putting important meetings and all on your calendar. There is Google Tasks that you can use. There is Microsoft To Do that you can use. So yeah, I mean, in general, but the best part is, but the best suggestion would be that just if you can take that much of risk, if you have the bandwidth, then maybe try taking up um 2 or 3 things and then try managing that, and then with that you learn.
That was really insightful. I think you saved the best for the last, because this last particular slide was very, very informative. I feel sorry for the ones who left. So, kidding. But thank you for sharing such informative pieces of advice. And I'm sure everybody here has benefited. And if you have any doubts, reach out to anybody of us, any one of us. If you want to ask Yashasvi a question, she is accessible on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. So you can reach out to her and talk to her. And thank you so much, Yashasvi, for coming to our platform and helping everybody out. And congratulations for securing that job at BCG. It was a big, big, big feat. It is a big, big, big feat. And we're really proud of
Thank you so much, Aditi. Thank you so much. And I think thanks for your time also. Thanks for inviting me, first of all, because I've really missed this, like just talking to members in the entire AFH community. And we used to do a lot more of this, some time back. But it's good to be back, and it's good to see so many people interested. And thank you so much for everybody sharing your positive feedback in the comments. Just let me know if you have any more questions in any specific questions. You can always text me on LinkedIn. So, and thank you Ruchita ma'am, thank you Aditi.
Thank you so much for coming on to our platform, and we're going to have more of these, so looking forward.
Yep, same here.
Of course. And this is the first of the, I would say, the young generation series. And Yashasvi has started with it. She's had an amazing journey. And I've known her from the starting at Aspire for her. Can't be more proud of all her achievements, the way she's managed everything. So when we started with our tech platform, I'm very proud to say that it was Yashasvi who designed it. Besides that, so she has worked on the tech platform at Aspire for her. She was heading the entire learnings part when we were doing the IBM courses. And I'm sure a lot of you have got your certifications thanks to Yashasvi for taking those classes. I don't know how many of you all are from a year back, but we are always proud of our members and achievements of our members. And if you feel that, yes, there is something that can make a difference in others' lives, do write to us. We would like to showcase you anytime. It's the community that also makes us feel great. So that is where we are. But Yashasvi, your journey is an inspiration to all. And I loved your presentation because there was so much that I also had to take back, connecting the dots. I love that these are some things which most people don't disclose, but it is a fact. So thank you so much.